Hello, welcome to Open Hand Farm. Today I am working on something fun. The YouTube channel Pathways Homestead has challenged people to make at least one meal from items that you have grown on your homestead. It can be any part of the meal that you like, or if you don't have your own garden or your own meat, then they suggest buying something local. So today I am going to make our dinner off of our land. We raise rabbits, so our meat will be rabbit. And I have an herbed butter rabbit recipe to use. It's actually a chicken recipe, but that's okay. No problem. So we're going to make some butter herbed rabbit. And then I'm going to slice some tomatoes, make some mashed potatoes that I'm gonna go dig out of our potato boxes that we grew potatoes in this year. I hope I find something and I'm not disappointed. And I make sourdough biscuits, so those will be made fresh with the sourdough that I have had going for about 8 years now. I know that's kind of young to some of you people out there, but that's when I started sourdough. And then for dessert, so this is what my daughter calls a dessert biscuit. So you just take another biscuit and you put on it what you want to put on it. So we have honey that a friend of ours here in town gave to me the other day, and it tastes so yummy. We also have some blackberry and raspberry jam that I have made from fruit off of our homestead. So that's what's for dinner tonight, and I hope you stick around while we make it and see how it turns out. So the first items I need are the herbs in order to make the herb butter. So I'm gonna go over here and go ahead and clip some, so come along. The first item we're gonna get is some thyme. I only need a couple teaspoons of each, but I actually always like to double up on the herbs. I like things to really have a taste. Now, let's go get some parsley. Trying to get this newer, more tender growth. All right, now we need some basil. I don't know if you've ever had basil tea, but just clip you some basil and steep it in some hot water. And then I like to add honey, fill it up with water, and yum. Oh. Now we need to go around back to the potato boxes and dig a few potatoes for some mashed potatoes. I don't even know what's in here because we also had some baby rabbits in here. So we'll look and see what we've got. Okay. Got some straw on top here. There's one. There's two. That one's a little smaller. Four. And a small one. 5. So if I don't have enough here, my friend Sarah is in charge of a community garden, and they had a produce sale the other day. So I'll just substitute some for those because I went ahead and bought some to support them. Oh, there's one. Okay, I think that's where we'll stop. That's not bad. I forgot that I also wanted to do some sauteed kale, so let's get that. That should do it. Okay, we're back in the kitchen, and this is one of those meals that you kind of have to work on everything just consecutively in order to get it all done at the same time. So the first thing I'm gonna do are the potatoes. I went ahead and started cutting them up so that you wouldn't have to sit and watch me cut potatoes. But I wanted to show you these yellow potatoes are the ones that came out of my garden, and these beautiful white potatoes are the ones that came from our community garden up the street. So I'll just go ahead and finish these up. I'm leaving the skins on because they are new potatoes. The skins are not hard at all. And we don't mind skins in our mashed potatoes. I know some people do, but we like them. And darn it, I worked hard to grow those skins. I'm gonna use them. All right, I'm gonna add some water and a little bit of salt and get them on the stove. I'm gonna go ahead and make some of that basil tea I told you about. I'll show you how I do it. I put the basil in a smaller jar just because I don't need a lot of hot water, but after the basil sits in the hot water, then I'm going to use this lid that has a screen on it and pour the tea into my big jar that has honey in the bottom of it, and the warm tea will melt that, and then I can add the rest of the water to make my full quart of tea. So let's get some water. This is not boiling water, it's just hot water. So we're just gonna leave it sit while I make dinner, and the last thing I'll do is go ahead and pour this tea into the honey and add some water. Okay, let's get this rabbit started. First thing we need to do is get our olive oil and our butter in the pan. And I did make this butter from the milk that we bought in Windsor, Missouri. We're gonna let those melt. While they're melting, I'm gonna go ahead and sprinkle some salt and pepper on the rabbit. These are all cut up already when I thaw them out and they're ready to go. And some pepper. The recipe is actually for chicken breast, and it said to pound them out. So I did pound this meat out on the thigh, I guess that is, of the rabbit. Okay, it looks like my butter and olive oil are warm. I'm gonna mix them up there, turn my heat down a little bit, and I'm gonna add these. And these are just supposed to brown. They're not cooking all the way through. We'll put them in the oven after they brown and let them cook just a little bit longer until they're done. Alrighty, I think this is ready to turn. Oh yes, that's beautiful. I don't fry a lot of food, so when I do, I'm just always excited about it. And you don't want it to brown too much because, like I said, you're going to be putting it in the oven. So you don't want it to be overdone when you put it there. Now that we've turned our meat over, I'm gonna go ahead and get the biscuits going. I already added the flour, baking powder, and salt. Now we need to cut in our butter. I did not make this butter, but we need to cut it in until we have small pieces of butter mixed in with the flour. You want to leave your butter refrigerated until you're ready to use it because it needs to be cold to make good biscuits. I know some people use their hands and squeeze them together and work it in that way. This is just the way I do it. It seems like I always have to stop and turn something on a pan or whatever, and this way my hands are not as dirty and I can just grab and do whatever I need to do. All right, now we're getting there. That'll work. There's still some bigger pieces, but that is nothing to worry about. These are sourdough biscuits. So we're gonna add milk and sourdough starter. The milk, you can add whatever you want. Today I have almond milk. So we added the milk. Now we're gonna add our bubbly, I don't know if you can see that, it's bubbly sourdough starter. Oh yeah. If you've never had sourdough biscuits, oh, you're missing out. They are so good. They're fluffy like a buttermilk, but they just have that little tang that you get from sourdough. Okay, let's cut some biscuits. Now you don't want to overwork your dough. I just kind of want to get it a little smoother. It was what you call a little shaggy. All right. Now, I don't roll mine. I just push them out to the thickness that I want them, and I leave them pretty thick. Alrighty, let's cut them. Get them on the pan. See how thick they are? This is actually the second time I've made biscuits today. My daughter and her boyfriend came over, and tomorrow's his birthday, so they asked me if I had any biscuits or anything for breakfast, and I didn't, but I said I can sure make some. And so we fried some bacon and cooked some eggs and made some biscuits and had breakfast together. But I sent the rest of the biscuits home with them. So here I am making them again. But that's all right. Sometimes they're not really round. I just kind of play with them, and that's the way it is. And then whatever's left, I just make a little ball and then kind of flatten it out. And there you go. Our potatoes are boiling, and our rabbit is browned on both sides. So we're gonna go ahead and put it in the oven. Okay, let's get the herbed butter ready to put on the rabbit when it's done. So all of these herbs were picked out of my garden today, and this garlic is also out of my garden. This is the butter that I made from the milk we got in Windsor. So the recipe calls for 1 teaspoon of both of these herbs, but why bother with 1? That's the way I feel. There we go. It also said to add lemon if you wanted a little bit more of a bright taste to it. So what I did is I just used my lemon thyme instead of my regular thyme. So let's get this garlic in. So what we're gonna do is kind of mash this and mix it, and then we just let it sit. Then when the rabbit comes out of the oven, you just dollop it on top of it and let it sit for a minute. So we just want it mixed really well. Make sure all of those are mixed together. Okay, that's good. Now we just wait for it to come out. I am also doing the Every Bit Counts challenge through the month of August, given by Three Rivers Homestead. And I was watching her video one day, and she had this amazing tool to take the spine out of her kale. So I ordered one. You guys, this is a game changer. Let me show you. I already got most of my kale ready for sauteing, but I didn't want you to miss out on this. This has all different kinds of holes, so you can also use it for herbs, but this is amazing. So I'm gonna put that in there, and then I'm just gonna slide it out, and there is the rib of my kale, and here is my kale. So now I can just kind of roll it up and cut it into the size that I want it, and the stem isn't there. That is so amazing. I used to lay the piece down, like I would take each piece and kind of fold them over very carefully, make sure that it was all lined up, and then I would take a knife and cut down through here. Oh my, you guys, this is so wonderful. Look at that. Look how fast that is. Thank you so much, Three Rivers Homestead. And there we go. Potatoes are done, so let's give them a mash. I start my mashing by using this Pampered Chef spoon that is like all slotted. And we don't mind if it has a little bit of lumpies in it because it's easier than pulling out a mixer and cleaning that all up. So I start there, then we add some butter. Then I have some heavy whipping cream that I'm going to use. Now, if I want them really creamy, let me show you what I do. I use my immersion blender that has a whisk on it. And there you go. We'll add a little salt and mix it up. And oh my goodness, this looks amazing. And I did get some on my finger and I tasted them and I forgot that they're new, fresh out of the ground potatoes. Oh my gosh, they taste so good. Oh, hi.
Hi.
This is Mark, if you haven't met him yet. He's my husband. And would you like to try these potatoes?
If you insist.
Yes, I do. Come over here. Okay, let me get a spoon. And then I got to get the rabbit out while you taste. They're hot, so be careful.
That's a funny thing to say.
Talk loud. Well?
Good.
Good?
Good.
All right. The rabbit is out. It's time to add our herbed butter. And I know some of you are probably looking at this and thinking, that's not very much meat. Well, there's only 2 of us. And if we were going to be feeding our family, like our kids came over or whatever, we of course would do more than 1 rabbit. But this is plenty for my husband and I. This smells delicious. I'm trying to really spread it around so the flavor gets everywhere. And honestly, I'm wondering if I want to put it back in the oven and let it kind of cook in a minute. I think I am. I'm going to go against the rules. I'm going to do it. Okay, the biscuits are out. Really big and fluffy. Let's get the kale going. I cut extra kale. I don't plan on cooking all of this, but I wanted to have some ready to go the next time I wanted to cook it. So while that heats up, first of all, let's put some salt on it. And I'm going to go ahead and pull that rabbit out. That looks so yummy. All right, Kale, let's get going. We got food to eat. Now all we have to do is finish the basil tea. Okay, this has been sitting, so I'm going to kind of swish it around and just pour that into this cup. Now, I also like to kind of squeeze that and then stir it up. Sorry, that's loud. Add the water. And serve over ice. So here we are with our homestead dinner. Homemade